you're talking about, but we're talking about it here tonight. Welcome in. A little problem getting going here, but thank you for coming in. Those on YouTube, those on our Facebook page as well. We really appreciate you wanting to come and be with us tonight right here on the six screens. Wow, I'll tell you, my name's Rick Farron. I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world. Of course, that's up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And boy, I must say, you know, we've been doing the program now going on 16 years, and we've never missed a Saturday night. We are here because you are here, and we're so glad that you're listening in tonight. We bring you the news the Watchtower has some difficulty talking about, but we talk about it here. And I want you to know that every single week, it just amazes me what seems to be happening as of late, where the Watchtower is getting a very tarnished image. And I don't know where they're going to be able to go with all of this bad, cynical news coming against them. But I mean, more and more people are finding out what's going on behind that organization, and they are packing their bags. Well, we want to welcome you in. We thank you for wanting to be part of our broadcast here tonight. And of course, people do call in from pretty much all over the world. And if you ever want to call in, you want to talk to us tonight, I'm going to give you a telephone number. Let's give you this number right here. Have you got a pencil and a piece of paper? It's 727-731-6701. And of course, that is no pin needed. 727-731-6701. No pin needed. Well, my goodness, well, let's see what's new. Let's see what's going on this week behind the curtains. Lots of people have been wondering, the Jehovah's Witnesses going to be coming back with greater zeal? You know, if they do come back out of this COVID pandemic, is their organization going to grow? Are they going to have even greater zeal than they had before the COVID? Well, I got news for you. I'm thinking that it's a possibility, at least that's what some of the officials of the Watchtower are saying, that things are just going fine. But I can't believe everything the Watchtower says. How can you believe that? So what we have here is we got some information we'll share with you on Hendricks. You know him, Brother Hendricks at the Watchtower. He's always speaking up on these radio and television programs and telling the world how great the Jehovah's Witnesses are doing. We'll play a video on that later. But just to give you an idea, they are suggesting that this Zoom meeting has been really remarkable for them. It's been just absolutely great getting people to come in, even though they've never been to a Kingdom Hall. They're coming in, according to Hendricks and others, that they're coming into Zoom, and they want to associate with Jehovah's Witnesses. Boy, if they only knew, right? So, yeah, it's all over. You get in Reddit, that's a forum online where ex-witnesses talk. And, of course, they have many relatives saying, oh, yeah, we're doing just fine. Things are great. So, anyways, they're also saying, I was on jw.org today, and this struck me kind of funny. There's an article in there talking about the coronavirus and how this was a test for the Jehovah's Witnesses. Can you believe that? The coronavirus was a test, very much like when the Romans breached Jerusalem and retreated. Remember, we learned about that the Romans came in, they were going to attack Jerusalem, but then they retreated, and only to come back later and totally sack Jerusalem. Well, we learned about that being witnesses, didn't we? So they're using that example, if you can believe it, that this COVID virus is very much like the Romans coming in and kind of testing the witnesses somewhat. And then there's going to be, after the coronavirus, is the Great Tribulation. So that's what they're saying. And they're saying also in this article I got off jw.org, I could not believe it. It says that this is not the time to slack off, like the Jews that stayed in Jerusalem and decided to just live a normal life. So now the Watchtower is saying to the witnesses today, nope, you do not want to live a normal life. This will lead to everlasting destruction. Can you believe that? And now is the time not to focus on education, don't focus on entertainment, don't focus on work or retirement, but now is the time to exert oneself and enter into the full-time service. Brothers, to reach out for ministerial servants and elder, and those studying to get baptized. Boy, they are putting some pressure on here, folks, aren't they? They now want the witnesses to totally immerse themselves in the witness work. Boy, oh boy. And now they're also saying that the next crisis will not be a virus pandemic. They're saying the next crisis will be the Great Tribulation, Armageddon itself. Boy, I will tell you, what the Watchtower is getting away with here is absolutely pathetic. But they're pushing it. They know it works. Fear-mongering at its best. And it's so irritating to me to see the Watchtower portraying this great tribulation that's on the horizon. And even imageries. I'm going to show you an image. You'll see a portion of it if you're on Facebook and YouTube. But they're actually showing an image online in one of the publications. I believe it's the Watchtower Study Edition. And it's dealing with the Great Tribulation. And it's showing SWAT team offices surrounding the home of a Jehovah's Witness. And it's like an aerial shot looking down from heaven. And all of Jehovah's angels are watching the SWAT team ready to enter into the Jehovah's Witness home. Man, I'm telling you, talk about fear-mongering. Well, let me see if I can't get that image up for you. And let's see if we can't see it here. Give us a second. Right here. We do have it here. I'm going to just make a little adjustment here. Give me 1 second. I just got to turn our YouTube camera the other way. Give us a second, see if we can't get you to see that. Yeah, it's just amazing what these guys are doing. And hopefully you might be able to see it a little bit better now. I'm not sure. But if not, I'll try to explain to you what it is. And yeah, well, sorry you can't see it too good. Let me turn a little bit more. Just stay with us on YouTube. I mean, this is a live show, so we have to make sometimes camera adjustments. So just stay with us. Don't go anywhere on Facebook as well. But all right, now you can see it to some degree, I think. It's not coming out too clear. But anyways, it shows there's angels in heaven, and they're pointing down at the SWAT team that is now going to be invading the Jehovah's Witness home. Isn't this something? Boy, they've really been putting up with this a lot lately. And I'll tell you what, they're really trying to give you the idea that Armageddon is right here. It's so imminent. Of course, they've always been doing this, but this is a scare tactic. Oh, my goodness, absolutely crazy. Well, we're going to be talking about more things here tonight concerning the Great Tribulation, how the witnesses of fear-mongering. So you saw the image, and, you know, I just have to say one thing. Do images that the Watchtower puts up in their publications, do they actually work? Do they actually get people thinking? Well, you guys know, you folks have all been witnesses for the most part, and you know, even when you were young, imagery in the Watchtower was everything, wasn't it? Do you remember the earthquakes and people falling in the earthquakes and cars and buildings toppling over and hailstones coming down from heaven? This all works, friends. Imagery stays in the mind. People think in pictures, they reason in pictures, and they are moved to action in pictures. That's what pictures do. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. We're going to talk more about some of this, but let that one go for now. We're going to talk here about list. A man sent me, and I want to thank Trevor. Thank you very much, Trevor, for sending me a list of all the Watchtower properties around the world that have either sold or up for sale. I can't believe it. And every week when I go through information trying to gather here for JW World News, every single week I see that Witness Kingdom halls are being sold off. And in so many cases, they're being sold off to none other than Babylon the Great. I was just reading online today, a Baptist church purchased a Kingdom Hall in Jefferson City, Missouri, I think it was. And also another hall was sold to the Baptist church as well. So how do you really make this work in the Jehovah's Witness world? Ex-witnesses seem to have bigger hang-up with it than regular Jehovah's Witnesses who are attending the meeting regularly. They just don't care that they're being sold off the church. But you know, if you ever tried to enter a church, if you ever tried to walk into a church because your cousin died and his funeral was at a church, you could be disfellowshipped for going in there. So how does it work that they can be selling all of these churches, all the Kingdom Halls off the churches, and nobody, bats an eyelash? It doesn't make any sense at all. And I mean, when these Kingdom Halls were built and dedicated, they were dedicated to Jehovah God. This was Jehovah's house. This is where Jehovah lives. And now they're selling them off to Babylon the Great. Oh my goodness, friends, it's hard to really digest all of this. But let me get into this. Now, for the year 2020, and I got some information here of all the Kingdom Halls that were sold off in the year 2020, or being sold. Most of them are sold from around the world. And how many Kingdom Halls do you think were sold off and are up for sale for the year 2020? You're going to be surprised. Anyone want to take a shot at it? I mean, if you like to take a shot at it, I'll take your thoughts. But anyways, just to tell you, in 2020, 1,021. 1,021. That's just in 2020. I'm not even counting anything that happened in 2021 so far. They've been selling them off like crazy. So yeah, and I'm looking through here, but it goes by states, it goes by country. If anyone's interested and they would like to know how many Kingdom Halls were sold off in their state, well, go ahead and just let me know. I'll be glad to share it with you. If you're interested in knowing how many Kingdom Halls were sold off in your state, speak up right now. You're on JW World News. All right. Well, it's amazing to me that...
Hey, Rick?
Yes, Anne-Marie.
I'm sorry I couldn't get to the phone fast enough. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to remind everyone that Watchtower never, ever lets a good tragedy go to waste. Thank you, Rick.
Well, you're absolutely right. They really don't do that. But well, you're from California, Anne-Marie. Let me just get in here. Let me just see how many Kingdom Halls were sold off just in the year 2020 out in California. Let's see if I can't find that. Boy, it was so easy to find. So many here. It's over 1,000, which is just
yeah. They've been selling them off at a pretty fast clip, especially in the last 15 years. And in fact, the one church that I belong to began in the Kingdom Hall that I used to go to as a child. And that Kingdom Hall turned out to be on pristine property and was sold to another religion. And eventually it has a bunch of condos. They made a killing selling that Kingdom Hall. It was built in, I think, around 1959 or so. So it was relatively a windfall. I mean, all of them in Las Gatos, all over in Santa Cruz, San Francisco, San Jose, all of the places that have Kingdom Halls on property that has just soared in value have been being sold off. Yeah, the Watchtower has just really been making a killing. I wish the rank and file would wake up. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, thank you, Emery. I've got Bakersfield, California, two in Bakersfield, three in Bakersfield. The Kingdom work isn't going too well in Bakersfield. One in Fresno, one in Granite Bay, one in Huckville, one in Los Gatos, one in Menlo Park, Oroville, Pacific Grove, Rosemead, San Diego, Alamosa, Bonavista, Colorado. Well, okay, that goes into Colorado. But there you go. There's a good 10 of them right there. That's just in California alone. Unbelievable, isn't it? Yes.
When you mentioned Los Gatos, that is like rich people town. Rich people. They had to have raked in well over $1 million for that hall. And Pacific Grove, another one, rich people town. And there are a couple others you mentioned.
Well,
Menlo Park.
Yeah, Menlo Park. That's where the headquarters for Facebook is. Very expensive area.
Very affluent. Very affluent. So you can imagine, believe me, like I said, everyone needs to wake up. And Rick, thank you so much for bringing it out, because they've been sold. Thank you so much again, Rick.
Yeah, it's so crazy, Anne-Marie, that, I mean, this is just in the year 2020. Around the world, there's been 1,021. Now, if you want to go back to even, if you want to go back to, say, 1918, there was, I'm sorry, 2018. You want to go back to 2018? You want to go back to 2019? Let's add that on here, too. And then, of course, we're into 2021. So I'm just going to throw it out. I mean, don't take it to the bank and cash it. I'm just thinking out loud here. But, there's been probably 3,000, 4,000 Kingdom Halls, and these are just the ones that we know of. Some don't get reported. So there could be upwards of 5,000. I mean, maybe I might be a little bit over the top on that one, but 4,000 or 5,000, it could very well be. So who knows? But yeah,
I wonder about the money they've been making off all the branches they've closed. They closed. My mother lives in Honolulu. Very strong witness activity in Honolulu. And in Honolulu was that branch of the Watchtower that closed, 5, 6, 8 years ago? In Honolulu, where the brothers and sisters there are very faithful. They're sweet as can be. The money. What are they doing with all these properties? Not just all these Kingdom Halls, but when you consider all the branches, where's the money going?
Well, yes, indeed. In fact, they do have branches listed. They also have assembly halls being sold off. Yeah. Now, here's the thing, Emery, you're a smart woman. You get it. And I think I'm pretty smart. I've been around for 73 years. I'm not just a widget maker. I deal with people all the time. I've been in business. I sell products. I get to know people. I get to know how businesses work. But here's the thing. If General Motors came out today and they said, we are just selling cars, it's unbelievable, record amounts of cars are being sold, and at the same time they're selling off car dealerships that sell General Motors cars, they're selling off General Motors factories, it doesn't add up. So this is what's not adding up to me. So the Watchtower, and I'm going to play a clip from this Hendricks official of the Watchtower coming up, and he's telling you how grandiose things are, and they're getting more people joining the Watchtower now than ever before because of the online meetings. Well, how is it that if they're doing so great that they're selling all this stuff off and laying Bethelites off? That doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, how do you make sense out of nonsense? But anyways, you're on JW World News. This is the news the Watchtower doesn't want you talking about. But we talk about it. We talk about it every Saturday night. Well, I checked.
Rick?
Yes.
Just real quick, this is Thomas Hart from Orange, Kansas. Did they lay off a bunch of Bethelites March and April? I know they were talking about doing. You mentioned the conference quite a while ago. I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, what they're doing is we're going to read a letter. I got a reminders letter from our Watchtower insider. And we'll read the letter later, but they're not really looking for any more Bethelites right now. And they haven't been, and they're letting Bethelites go. How many? I don't have any number on it. But a number of they did let go in the last few months. They don't want to use the word downsizing. That's a word they will never use. Cults change the language, but they will use the word we are simplifying. See, I mean, the same thing. So they're simplifying. All right, yeah. So if they're growing, you would think if Jehovah's Chariot is now on the move, and then I'm going to read you reminders that our insider sold us in just a while, and he's saying that the letter is saying that they're not bringing any more Bethelites in at this time. Don't you think if you were growing, that's when you need more workers? I would think. Yeah. By the way, while I got you on here, let me check out Kansas. I know you're calling in from Kansas, and let's see if we can't find out how many Kingdom Halls closed in Kansas, and see if you might know some of these. You hold on 1 second here, and we'll find this. Okay, let's see. Okay, 1 second. Let's go to Kansas, Kentucky, Kansas. All right. See if you recognize some of these places. Atkinson, Altwood, Derby, El Dorado, Eureka, Kansas City, Learned, Osawatomie. You know what that is, Thomas? Osawatomie? Well, I don't know if Thomas is still with us. I think he checked out. But yeah, so all of these places, that's just
No.
all right. So,
I'm not sure what Osawatomie is. I recognize Kansas City, of course.
yeah. Well, they got
Laredo.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eight just right there. So let's take a look here. I mean, that's just in 2020, Thomas. That's just in 2020.
Okay. Do they have one at the Peak of Kansas a year or so ago?
Do they have what? I only have a list. I only have a list here for 2020. But I'm going to go. I know my wife Susan here. She's from Illinois. So let me just see about Illinois here, and see how many people have, how many congregations have.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Hey, when you have a chance, why don't you look at Oklahoma?
Okay, yeah, look at that too. Let's take a look here at Illinois. Well, we have in Illinois, we have Anna, Illinois, Barrington, Bloomington, Charleston, Chicago. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 congregations closed down in Chicago. I mean, how many congregations they got out there? Really a lot. Jerseyville, Illinois, closed one. Knoxville, Illinois, Marby, Illinois, Mattoon, Illinois, Mendota, Illinois, Moline, Illinois, Rockford, Illinois, Rockford twice, Illinois, Springfield twice. Boy, I'll tell you, Waseca, Wood River. Boy, a lot of them closed down there. Boy, it must be close to 20 there in Illinois alone. Now let's take a look at Oklahoma, Chewy. Let's take a look at Oklahoma and see how many closed down in Oklahoma. All right, let's see what we got here, boy. Oh. Okay, hold on 1 second. Boy, the list is really long here. My goodness, I can't believe how long the list is. But let's check Oklahoma here. Boy, Ohio, I'm looking at Ohio. They have about 35, 40 Kingdom Halls that shut down in 2020 alone. I can't believe it. Ohio is tanking. Oklahoma. Well, we go to Guthrie, you know what that is, Guthrie? Then there's Lindsay, Perry, Tulsa, Aurora, Crabtree, Drain, Milton Freewater. That's a strange name. Molalla, Oklahoma, Rogue River, Silverton. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 closed in 2020 out in Oklahoma alone. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, did you get that on an email?
I got that on an email. Now this man called me. I say email. He didn't call me. I wanted him to call me. And if you're listening in, I won't use your name because I know you don't want me to use it. But thank you for sending me this list because I'm having fun with this list. But he wrote me this week, and he said he wanted to send me some information. He wanted first and foremost, he gave me about 4 or 5 emails. But what he was wanting us to do here at the 6 Screens is tell people about up and coming. Well, they're saying down in Florida that they're going to be meeting in 2022 in some of the assembly halls. But there's no confirmation on that yet. We're going to get to that story coming up. But he's saying that it would be great if when these assembly halls open back up, if the 6 Screens and some people could protest. He can't do it for whatever reason, but he was hoping that at least some people could do it. And I think that's one of the things that the Watchtower is concerned about, is when they open these kingdom halls and assembly halls up again, there'll be people outside protesting. So we'll see what happens with that. And thank you too, Chewy, for sending me your information today. I got that, and we'll be reporting on some of that later. Thank you. All right. So anyways, 1,020.
Can you check Oregon? Because I think you said Malala and another one that I think are in Oregon, not Oklahoma.
Okay, let me check. Hold on one second. Okay, in fact, you're right. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They were running together. Yeah.
I was kind of curious how many are in Oregon, too.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in Oregon. 7 Rogue River. Yep. Rogue River, Crabtree, Drain. Sorry, I mixed those up. So I didn't mean to get your hopes up there, Chewy, but at least you did have about 6 in Oklahoma. No, not the 11. All right. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, you got my email address. Can you forward that to me?
Absolutely, I will. Yeah, you like that? It has all of them. I'll send that right to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, if anyone else wants this too, let me know. Write me at JW World News, and I'll send you off this list. And bear in mind now, you'll be surprised, 1,021 Kingdom Halls sold around the world in 2020. Now, that's amazing. I mean, let's talk about, they've been selling Kingdom Halls off here now since 2015, 2016. I'm just going to throw a number on the table. I don't know if I'm right. Who would ever know? But I'm willing to go on the hook here to say that the Watchtower sold off about 5,000 Kingdom Halls. Now, you run the numbers on that. And, property, as Anne-Marie was just saying, she came in and she said some of those places we named in California, they aren't, that's not in the poor side of town. Some of these congregation Kingdom Halls were in high buck real estate towns. So, they're making tons of money. But, they still want more. We're going to be reading about that too. So, yeah, okay. So anyways, I guess we can move on to the next story. But that's what I'm not getting, is how is it that the Watchtower can tell us everything is so wonderful, but yet at the same time selling all this stuff off? I mean, if your organization was really growing, you'd be holding on to everything and say, wow, we're going to meet again. We're going to get together. We're going to get the Kingdom Halls. We're going to go back to the assembly halls. But it doesn't seem to be happening. It really doesn't seem to be happening. Yeah, so anyways, let me see if I can't get in here too with the announcements and reminders. Yeah, let's talk about that. Every month I get, there's an insider, he goes by the name Atlantis. Now, he sends me emails on these reminders and announcements that they read at the Kingdom Halls. Now, we all remember that, right? In the service meeting, a brother would get up and he'd give us the announcements and the information that we needed that month. Well, I got for the month of June from Atlantis, and there's a few things that he's saying that, again, kind of defies their growth. They made an announcement that there's a limited number only that are being invited into Bethel's service. Now, you've never heard this before. I never heard of that. They always said, hey, this is open for anyone who would like to come. But now they say a limited number only. And they have to say this. And I bet you they're not even inviting anyone. So now they're saying that, for those who would like to be available to serve, when it becomes possible to invite more volunteers, well, there's a little catchphrase right there. They want to get your application, but they're not really taking anybody. They're saying when it's possible to invite more volunteers, therefore baptized Christians, 19 baptized Christians. Oh yeah, they're not even Christians, but say baptized Jehovah's Witnesses, 19 years of age or older, who desire to pursue Bethel service or assist with theocratic instruction projects on a part-time or full-time basis should speak to their congregation secretary to receive further instructions on submitting an application. Where?
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Is that the Watchtower's work for free until you die program?
Yeah, I would say that's what it is, slave labor, yes. Yeah,
Thank you.
so it says where possible, it is preferred that publishers who have access to the internet should use, well, fill it out online. Well, they're getting like everybody else lately. But anyways, I wanted to bring this up tonight because they're also mentioning other things here. So they're saying that Bethel service is limited. And when the opportunity affords itself, they might be able to bring you in, but you might only have a part-time position. And that's what Johnny the Bethelite used to call it too. He used to call it, if you remember, Bethel commuters. They didn't live there, but they drove in, they took a bus, or however they got there. So Bethel commuters. So here's an interesting thought too. The Watchtower, as of late, is really concerned about their information being shared online. Many Jehovah's Witnesses in Facebook groups who are witnesses, they're not even supposed to be on Facebook, but they're putting pictures up of publications, putting pictures up of videos, and the Watchtower is being very adamant. It's in the announcements for June. It says, do not post on the internet any artwork, electronic publications, trademarks, music, photos, videos, or articles from our websites. Don't do it. And they're really emphatic about it, profoundly emphatic. Don't do it, because you know what people are doing with it. You know, all of us are grabbing the images and putting them up online. The Watchtower can't stand that. A lot of the imagery that we're seeing coming out of the Watchtower as of late is not good. It's not good. Their imagery lately, it's all of this real fear-mongering, as we talked about earlier, and imagery that is not conducive to wholesome thoughts. Some of the things they're posting up, friends, are enough to scare a lion back into his den. Really. Stormtroopers busting doors down. You know, also some of the videos where they're showing how parents are shunning their children. They don't want that up. But, you know, we find it, we put it up there, as well as all the other people, all the other activists as well. So they're saying, don't do it. And then also in reminders, now this is an interesting thing here. I don't even know if Watchtower might be making people lie. Well, I mean, they have always, right? They do have the lying program that WA strategy allows them to lie. But evidently what's happening and why they're making this announcement to the congregation, it's talking about donation by Indian citizens. That is people from India. There's a lot of them here in America, right? We see them. In fact, right here in Burlington, Massachusetts, there's a lot of Indian people who've moved here. So these Indian people have made inquiries to the Watchtower that they wanted to donate some money. You know, some of the Indian people are not poor. Believe me, some of them are very wealthy. So they wanted to donate to the worldwide work in India. But take a look at, I'm going to read this right from the announcement. It says, numerous donors have contacted the India branch office because they were unable to use donatejw.org. To assist, please note this important reminder. When visiting donatejw.org, it will default to your present location. All right, so let's just think about this for a second. We have an Indian person living here in America. So he wants to donate to the jw.org in India. He wants to donate to that branch. But it's not letting him do it, because what happens is it defaults to where you're coming in at the time. So Watchtower is telling the Indian people to go in and make some adjustments and make it look like they're coming from India. They kind of give you instructions how to do that. They're actually telling the Indian people to basically falsify where you're from so you can donate to the Indian branch office. I don't like the way Watchtower does business. You know, they did not want us to in any way not pay taxes. They didn't want us to go against the government in any way. They wanted us to uphold the principles and the laws of this country, but yet they're so eager when it comes to money. When it comes to money, well, don't worry about it. Just change a few things here and basically lie. And, then we can get the money. I'm telling you, folks, this organization is not the pure, pristine, clear image of greatness that you all think it might be. At least we did when we were witnesses. Well, anyways, they were also talking about in these reminders, boy, I'll tell you, there was a lot of reminders this month, but they're really bragging. And I know they don't have bragging rights, but they're trying to get away with it. It says that you will be happy to know that the 2021 memorial attendance for Britain and Ireland was at an all-time peak. 262,602 publishers of people went there. A total number, and the total number of pioneers as of March is 17,560. This is the 7th consecutive all-time peak. Well, wait a minute. Let's put the brakes on. Let's put the brakes on. First of all, they're just talking here. You got to read between the lines. First of all, they're just talking about Britain and Ireland. Okay, we got two little countries, right? So, okay, fine, they got a little more numbers than... Why aren't they saying the rest of the world? Why are they just picking... They're cherry picking. That's what they're doing. They're cherry picking. They're picking out the countries that look the best. But this idea of pioneers reaching peak, I got a bone to pick with this one. I got a big bone to pick with this one. First of all, so they're saying in Britain and in Ireland, they had, as of March, 17,560 pioneers. Well, it's a lot easier to pioneer. Did you know to pioneer today, you don't even have to put a full hour in? You can pioneer if you just put in 15 minutes. So, I mean, does that give you bragging rights? I mean, should you be able to say, oh, look at what we're doing here. Look at the pioneers. They're increasing like crazy. I mean, does that give you bragging rights? Absolutely not. So, I mean, anybody could be a pioneer. You could be a pioneer today if you put an hour in a month. Not even that. Because you don't have to. During the pandemic, they said we relaxed the hours because it must be tough on these people. Of course it's tough. Sitting down all day and writing letters to people all over the place. You try that one for a while. So anyways, they're saying it's very encouraging, and it's in evidence of Jehovah blessing your hard work and service. No, it's not Jehovah blessing your hard work and service. It's the Watchtower cooking the books. That's what's showing the increase, really. Oh, so I'll tell you what. But isn't it strange that the Watchtower would actually tell the Indian people basically to lie? Don't really tell them really where you are. Change your destination so you can get the donations in. I mean, that is not a good thing to be known as. But geez, the Watchtower, they don't, see, they think they're above the law. The Watchtower organization, they think that they're above the law. They think that they can do things and get away with it. But friends, I'm telling you, the rest of the world is starting to catch up on these guys. So that's the good thing. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what else is going on behind the curtains, unless anyone has a comment. If someone wants to make a comment, I want to sit here and hog the whole program. But if someone has a comment and would like to speak up tonight, now would be a good time to do it. So go ahead, hit *6. And what do you think? Any of these stories we're talking about here tonight catch your fancy? Anything that gets you thinking, wow, the Watchtower is worse than I thought it was? Well, all right, let's move on. We got more to talk about.
Good evening, Mr. Carr.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Ken. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been listening off and on with interest and everything like that and so forth, cumulatively and all that. Sounds like the same old thing that they've promoted in the past and so forth. They're talking about testing, That was supposed to happen back in the 1800s and then around World War I. And then about 1925, and then World War II, and then the Vietnam War, then the Korean War, and I don't know what else. The list goes on and on. How many tests is supposed to be administered is my question. So Watchtower individuals listening, I'd appreciate them letting me know. And then they talk about, you know, a SWAT team coming in, surrounding one of the JW's homes and all that, and all these angels there are watching over them. Well, one of those angels can kill over 100,000 people allegedly. Why aren't one of those angels sent down there? So this doesn't sound right to me, and so forth. And then they're showing off Kingdom Halls, and then they're saying it's going to get back to normal and everything like that with more zeal than ever before. Yeah, that doesn't sound right, and so forth. And, well, I don't know what to make of it, but I guess, like you say, and like other people have said, you can't make sense out of nonsense.
Well, I'm with you, Ken, on that one. And that's why even doing Jehovah's Witness World News, I mean, it's a chore and a half. It really, really is, because some of the things are just not, you know, I have to report different things every week because they keep changing things. But I find that this man Atlantis that sends us these reminders is very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. In fact, I didn't even get to all of the announcements. I got to go back. For some reason, we missed some here. And okay, yeah, I found this nugget. It has to do with donations. They are really trying to get more and more donations in, and they are going to continue to ask for them. And of course, they're trying to get it all online. You know, donate through their website, and they actually have a donatejw.org link that brings you right to a bank where you just give them your bank account and you tell them how much you want deposited in their bank account, and off it goes. So there you have it. Well, thank you, Ken. Thanks for coming in and talking with us tonight. So anyways, I got a YouTube video. I got a YouTube video that I came across. It's from a radio station down in Louisiana. And we got this guy, Hendrix, Brother Hendrix. That's kind of easy to remember. Jimi Hendrix? Well, this is Brother Hendrix. Kind of coincidental that, you know, Hendrix wrote the, you know, All Along the Watchtower song. But this Brother Hendrix, somehow, some way, I think this guy is going to weasel himself to the top of the Jehovah's Witness organization. They're using him a lot. He's been interviewed by a number of radio programs and television programs around the country in the last, I'd say, year. It's always him. I mean, he's not a bad speaker. He makes himself pretty plain. So I got a good feeling that it's just my own thoughts here, friends. But I think with the old fogey Watchtower governing body members, Loesch, and certainly Morris and Lett and the rest of these people, Jeffrey Jackson, you know, they're getting old. They don't make for much of an appearance. You know, they gotta do something different. The governing body is just tanking. Nobody really. In fact, I'll tell you something. There are people actually leaving the Jehovah's Witness religion because of the governing body. You know, when I was a witness back in the 90s, the early 2000s, and you guys can remember too, we couldn't even tell you who all the governing body members were, right? Yeah, I mean, we didn't know. We never saw them. You know, once in a while you might see them at a convention, but they weren't so prominently paraded before the public and on live streaming. And now you see them all the time. And I tell you the truth, the governing body, the more they show them, the more terrible the organization looks. They're losing credibility when they bring the governing body on, especially Stephen Lett. Come on. So this is what's happening. So they're using this guy, Hendrix. And I think, I'm just thinking out loud, don't take it to the bank, don't cash it because I don't know for sure. I'm just thinking out loud, but I'm thinking that they might want to go back to like a one man running the show. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of dissension in the governing body today. You know, not everybody's on the same boat. Now, when I was invited down the year 2000, Brother Loesch, governing body member, invited me down. It was for a possible position, an interview for being a governing body member. Can you believe that? Boy, I'm so glad I didn't fight for that. But I was in the anointed class, and I would have qualified, and I was doing the things they wanted me to do. So I was invited down to Watchtower for a possible position on the governing body, and I had an interview with Loesch. And I could see he took me in. He was on the 4th floor, and he took me into his office, and then he took me into the governing body's room where the governing body meets. And the governing body had a big table. They met every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, he told me, in the morning. I believe they still do. So every Wednesday they met, and he said, "Now, what do you think of this? What do you think of this meeting room, Rick?" Brother Farron, he called me. I says, "Well," I says, "boy, it sure is big. Had a big, big table in there." He says, "Well, we all meet here every Wednesday." And he says, "Do you know, Brother Farron, do you think that the governing body is all in unison? Do you think we all think the same way? Or do you think we have differing opinions?" Well, at the time, there was 7 governing body members, from what I believe. There's 8 now. But there were 7 governing body members back then in 2000. And, I said, "Brother Loesch, I don't think that 7 men can come together on everything." He says, "You got that right." He says, "They don't." He says, "We have to vote. And then, of course, whoever gets the most votes, that's the way we move." So that's an interesting thing. But he brought that up. And you see, this dissension. And even right now, I'm thinking, man, with all the trouble going on with sexual child abuse, with all the trouble of people being shunned and blood transfusion problems, there's got to be a lot of disagreement in the governing body when they meet. So I wouldn't doubt if they put one man in charge. I would think that they could even get rid of the governing body as we know it, and perhaps put this guy Hendricks in, kind of like a one-man operation, like Franz and Knorr and Rutherford, Russell. This idea of 8 men running the show, too many cooks in the kitchen. I think it's causing trouble, and I really do think there's going to be many that want to descend. So only time will tell. I mean, I don't know. How do I know? I don't know. But I'm just going on what I feel. So maybe you feel the same way. But anyways, this Hendricks, I want to play a clip. I want you to hear this. Now, he was on the most popular radio show in all of Louisiana, and he was talking this a couple months ago. So it's not exactly right up to date, but it's enough to give us an idea of who this Hendricks guy is. So I'm going to play it here. If you're on Facebook, you'll see it. You'll hear it on our network. You'll hear it on the other networks we're on as well. But I want you to just listen to this guy and just take a second to play commercials now on YouTube, of course. But let's watch and see what happens. This is Brother Hendricks. Let's see what he has to say here. Just take a second. This little video here works a little crazy. But let's get him on here. Come on, Brother Hendricks. I don't know what it is with this particular YouTube video, but it drives me crazy. Can we get him on here? Just give us a second, friends. Yeah, we'll get it. We're doing a live program here. Once in a while, we do run into some issues. Well, it's not that. That's John Cedars. For some reason, we got him on. But let's go back to this. Let's skip it. The ads. Come on, just stay with us. Don't just have some patience here. We don't do any editing, and it all comes on live here. Let's see. Well, here he is here.
No longer in New Orleans. No longer.
All right, let's get. Here's the woman. I think this woman's Jehovah's Witness.
Organization we're checking in with is the Jehovah's Witnesses in the New Orleans community, who are often seen offering literature and doing ministry in various places throughout the city. And we have not seen much of that activity as of late. So we wanted to see what has been going on with the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses. And right now I'm going to bring in, we have the U.S. spokesperson for Jehovah's Witnesses, Mr. Robert Hendricks. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, Casey. Good to be back.
Of course. I wanted to check in with you guys and see, locally, how many congregations and members are there of those congregations right here in the New Orleans area?
Well, we have just under 3,000 in the greater New Orleans area, and our brothers and sisters and all those who associate with us have not been going to public meetings for now about a year. It's a little more than a year now. because early on we took a very proactive stance in not only shutting down our public meetings in all our 13,000 congregations around the United States, but also suspending our public ministry. And so we are no longer in New Orleans, we're no longer on street corners, we're no longer in the airport, we're no longer in public places. In fact, we've even told our members, our congregants, that it would be a good idea to even suspend visits to return visits. We call them return visits, those who have expressed interest in Bible studies, and do all of that virtually. So our knocking went silent about.
So this woman, just to bring you up to speed, this woman, the radio announcer, is talking to Brother Hendricks, and where have you guys been? He says, well, we're not really out on the street corners, we're not at airports, we're not doing any witnessing. But let me move up here a little bit, because I find it fascinating. Other things he speaks about, and then she asks him directly if they're ever going to go back to meetings. We'll get to that part shortly. But let's listen in here and see what he's saying here now.
It's more just doing more of the things you had already been preparing for.
Well, you're absolutely right. Let me just be honest, though. It was a major shift for me. I've been knocking on doors since I was walking. I made my personal dedication when I was 15 years old, but I've actually been a publisher, somebody who actually goes out on a monthly basis since I was 6 years old. And so to have a situation where now I had to shift my ministry, even though for years and years we've been told you need to shift your ministry. Now I had to do it. It was difficult for me, and I would have to dare say for many others. But as we have done it, we have seen tremendous results. In fact, in many of our congregations, not having meetings in person, we immediately saw increases in our meeting attendance. In fact, in many places, 20%, 25%.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on here, Brother Hendricks. Do you believe that they saw their meeting attendance, since they've been meeting on Zoom, go 20 to 25% in some congregations? He said. He didn't say all. He didn't say the Jehovah's Witnesses got an increase of 20, 25%. But he said some congregations got an increase. Some congregations. Let's stop and think about this. Friends, we've been reporting on all through the COVID crisis about Jehovah's Witnesses on Zoom. All of the information I learned on Reddit, all of the information I read on JWN and YouTube, the witnesses are tanking. There might be a few congregations where they do okay, but congregations that had 100 people meeting, they had 30, 40 people. So, this guy, I want you to look at his face.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Hey, Rick, it's Dan.
Yes.
I just listened to this guy. They found a pathological liar. This guy's lying. He's a bald-faced liar. That thing's coming apart at the seams. I mean, I was just listening to him, and I just heard lie, 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 and then he used a famous word, let me be honest. I mean, this guy's a bald-faced liar. He's making crap up as he goes. I mean, I couldn't even listen to it. I'm like, I wanted to go come inside the interview and say, dude, where did they find this guy? That's why they're using him, Rick. The guy's a liar.
That's exactly right. I mean, you're on the same train I am on. I got the same feeling as I was going through this and putting up with the news. He is. He's a liar, and he's trying to. Well, he's going to be the next. He's going to be, in my estimation, the next spokesman. Every time I turn around, he's on an interview. But the woman that's giving this interview in Louisiana, I believe she's one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And, he's coming on and saying all this stuff. I want you to hear a little bit more. Matt, we talked a little earlier, I believe, Dan. Matt is not coming on, I don't think, but then he just emailed me and said he is going to come on. Did you want to?
Yeah, I emailed him. Rick, and said, hey, Matt, are you coming on? I was lining up some people, and he said he's all good for tonight. And he just said, would you chime in a little bit? And I said, yeah. So it sounds like he's got it covered. So
all right. Well, thank you for wanting to do it. But I wasn't sure. And sometimes you go down to the last minute here, and I have to put this stuff together because a lot of people listen in. So thank you, though, for being in the bullpen. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, and Angela, too. Thank you both. Thank you. All right. So anyways, we've got, this is Hendricks. This is Brother Hendricks. I want you to hear more from this man. This man, I mentioned to my wife this week that this this man looks like a typical Jehovah's Witness man. Now, how can I say that? Is there such a thing as a typical Jehovah's Witness looking man? I do. I mean, I'm not trying to be like some type of a mind reader, see what's going on with people that other people can't see. But I look at body language. Yes.
Yeah, I just have to chime in along that line. You know, I had a lady that told me, you know, one time that I was a Jehovah's Witness, absolutely 100% for sure. And I said, how do you know that? And she said, you know, she said, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you look a little dumbed down. Yeah, you know, and this guy, he doesn't have a heart. I'm telling you, Rick, this guy's coming completely from his head. He's the perfect person for Watchtower to use to go in there. He's heartless, so he can just make shit up as he goes. I'm sorry, but that's how I hear him.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. I feel the same way. But he's got that. He looks like he's in nowhere land. It looks like he's. It looks like he's he's spaced out. And if he come down to earth,
there's nobody home, Rick.
No.
That guy was talking. I'm telling you, anybody conscious who's awake would hear and know there's nobody home with him. There is nobody home.
yeah.
I mean, I'm like, my God, really, Watchtower? Are you stupid this low to find the biggest liar? I mean, there's no way everybody's running that, Rick. You don't sell cars over the phone. You don't recruit people over the phone. People are falling away. That's 100% accurate that people are falling away. They're not making the meetings. They don't really want to go back. I mean, this guy, I cannot believe it. I can't believe Watchtower. Well, I'm starting to really get a sense of what Watchtower really is now. But they will stoop to the lowest. And I guess this guy just is total 100% brainless, and he'll just do whatever Watchtower says, just like we all did.
Yeah, in fact, I want you to listen to more. I don't want to make anybody sick out there, but I want you to listen to a little more. Now, he's saying that he's been preaching. He'd go knocking on doors since he was 6 years old, and he's beginning to say now that, you know, it was really troublesome when he couldn't go door to door. I mean, I think he was probably happy they couldn't, like most witnesses. In fact, when I get information coming in here to the 6 Queens that the Jehovah's Witnesses right now, many of them are having anxiety attacks. They're having panic attacks because they think now they're going to go back knocking on doors. They hated that. Nobody likes that. But this guy's saying, oh, I had to make some adjustments. Make some adjustments. He's probably happy he doesn't have to do it too. Let's see what else he has to say. Listen in.
We thought, well, that was at the beginning. It's easy to get to a virtual meeting. But that has really been sustained. We have only heard those reports throughout the branch territory that our meeting attendance is higher, that our ministry, folks are participating on a regular basis and finding enjoyment in it, that in some of our congregations, we're actually covering our areas, our territories, our congregational territories in a more efficient and effective way.
Wait a minute. Now, he's saying that the brothers and sisters were finding their new way of witnessing through letters, basically, and through making telephone calls, that the brothers love that and the sisters love that. I beg to differ with him. I beg to differ with him. As a matter of fact, it's his own people at Watchtower that did a video that actually cut the pioneers and the witnesses some slack during the pandemic because of not being able to go door to door. It's very tedious sitting down writing letters all day and calling people on the phone. A lot of witnesses didn't like doing that. So they said, look, we're still going to count you as a publisher if you only get 15 hours a month then. Don't worry about trying to get 10. Just get 15 minutes a month then. Just 15 minutes a month, and that'll cut you some slack. So how is it that people love the ministry when the Watchtower itself cut it back so you didn't have to put as many hours in? Listen in.
Way, reaching more people. And these telephone witnesses, these calls have been amazing as well because they've allowed us to bring comfort to our neighbors at a very, very difficult time. And many have responded in a positive way.
To telephone marketing in the community like that? Do you like getting calls? Do you like getting robocalls? Do you like getting calls from salespeople and really making your day miserable and trying to keep you on the phone? And he's saying people love listening to the Jehovah's Witnesses. I doubt it. friends, I'm going to tell you right now, I was a salesman for many years, had my own business. And I didn't mind going out, knocking on doors. I made a lot of cold canvassing as well. But I'll tell you what, it was tougher going door to door trying to sell Watchtower than trying to sell my products. See, Watchtower is controversial. You would go to the door, you're trying to convert people. They have one religion, you're trying to make them a Jehovah's Witness. So that's a very difficult thing for people. But he's saying that people love calling up and the community love to hear from the witnesses on the telephone. I rather doubt that, friends. Nobody likes to listen to telemarketers. Let's listen in a little bit more.
In fact, throughout the branch territory, we have had many people who have become Jehovah's Witnesses and never go to a Kingdom Hall, never see the inside of a Kingdom Hall, never knock on a door, never go to our conventions, which are our signature event per year, each year. And this is all they know. And if you asked me a year ago if that could ever happen, I would have said no. But today, it's the norm. We're still growing.
And that was going to be my next question. I mean, what has been the success of seeing these methods be used more widely as a result of the efforts of the ministry?
Well, I think the success has been manifold, many different ways. For example, when we went from door to door, most witnesses who work 5 days a week or 6 went out on the weekends. And so typically on a Saturday morning, it would be difficult to find people home, or during the week, it would be.
Well, wait a minute. They were home, but they were hiding. I mean, many people were home. They got onto the Jehovah's Witness game plan. They were home, but they were just hiding, Brother Hendricks. I mean, I think you should understand that. They didn't want to open the doors to the Jehovah's Witness. But we're going to move this up. Let's move this up. He goes on, he bloviates, he goes on and on and on. But I want to get up to the near end of this. And I want you to hear, the woman asked him about the ministry. Well, let her tell you. Listen to it.
What we do know is that the disease has crested or as.
I'm going to move it back a little bit. What all the witnesses want to know around the world, well, what this woman down there in Louisiana wants to know is the Jehovah's Witness game plan of going back out in service and meeting in Kingdom Halls, is that in place? Will that ever happen again? I mean, we know they're selling Kingdom Halls off. We just told you in 2020 they sold off 10,000. I'm not 10,000, but 1,021. That's just in the year 2020. But now what he is being asked here, what he is being asked is, will they ever get back to normal? Will they meet regularly? Let's listen to what he has to say.
Spirituality even transcends face-to-face communication. It can, and it is proven to be that over the last year.
Okay. And, looking forward, let's reality is things are opening up. Businesses are getting back to normal. Governments are allowing fewer restrictions and things of that nature. Will you, as an organization, kind of follow that trend, or will we ever see witnesses return to door-to-door knocking and offering literature at carts in the city again?
Our hope is that we do see that again in the future. But at this moment, right now, we don't see that in the future.
Oh, now, what a weasel. That is a weasel answer. Will you guys be going out door to door? Will you be meeting in the Kingdom Halls? He comes back and say, our hope is to do that. But right now we don't have that hope because of the pandemic. They are milking this coronavirus pandemic. They are taking full advantage of it. They love it. This COVID virus thing has really fed into their business model, selling all these Kingdom Halls off. So he's asked directly here, will you be going back? We hope we are. Why can't he say that, gee, people are beginning to meet, restrictions are being lifted. We will be going back. I mean, we as Jehovah's Witnesses, that's what we do. We have to get back to our public ministry. But he does not even suggest in one little way other than we hope. That is a lousy answer. Let's see how he finishes up.
Sure. Because the future is something we can't predict. We're not prophets, and neither are health experts. And What we do know is,
Well, he said we're not prophets. Brother Hendricks, I mean, for years you've been prophets. You have been teaching people that the prophetic end of the times is here. We're going to see Armageddon. You better get yourself in order. You missed a number of times, 1914, 1925, 1944, 1975. How many things? You were prophets. Now, you should be able to look beyond this. She's asking you a question. Will you be going back in view of what's going on and everyone else's meeting? We've got, Indianapolis 500 last week. They had 135,000 people. Today, Saturday, they got the Belmont Stakes racetrack. There's probably over 100,000 people there. So, what is your position here? You should be in the forefront of wanting to get back and meet in person. This dragging your feet and not letting the witnesses know what's going on is not, you're not doing them any courteousness. You're not showing them any love. So let's see what Brother Hendricks has to say.
Is that the disease has crested or has plateaued over the last 6 weeks, but this week has spiked again. And that's exactly what experts said would happen, that we would see these variants take hold, like in New York City. One report said 39% of those who have been infected with a variant, 39%, same is true in Florida. And so we're going to be very, very careful. We're not going to risk our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, just because we have a personal preference. Our principles, the principle of love and sacredness of life, has to transcend our purpose.
Did this, friends, I'm getting my bath bag ready. That is a key moment in this whole interview. Now, the reason why they're not going to go out and meet, and the reason why they're kind of holding back from meeting and going out in service, is they have love. They have love for the people. They don't want to bring them the virus, and they don't want people going to Kingdom Halls and getting virus. But everyone else seems to be okay with it. But the Watchtower is dragging their feet. They're saying, no. This is giving them more time to sell off the Kingdom Halls, friends. This has been a wonderful thing for the Watchtower. And I'm still of the opinion, and we talked about it last week with that new media center being built, I'm still of the opinion that they might not have to go back, and they might not go back. But they gotta say something. They gotta say something, or there could be a total collapse. Friends, they are like on a very, well, let me put it this, like a seesaw. It goes up, it goes down. It's a very delicate balance here. You got to balance it just right. If you don't balance it right, the Watchtower could really lose everything. So they're being very careful. They're bringing out their best people. They're bringing out their best liars. They got to be very careful here. Let's wrap this up. Let's see what his final words are.
Personal preference. We have to put it before our preference, even though we have a desire to see each other again.
So I really appreciate you taking some time out to kind of discuss the way of the decision making and also where things are with the organization. And I really hope that, one day the future does allow things to get back to more normal situations. But for now, we understand, the organization has definitely made some difficult decisions, but it's for the, as you said, the benefit of showing love and consideration to our neighbors. So
that woman has to be a witness. That woman has got to be a witness. Jehovah's Witnesses, they talk a good game. Oh, we're such a loving organization. They're not such a loving organization. They're saying they don't want to go out and give people the virus. Friends, they're the same people that hope that God kills those people because they don't believe in Jehovah and they don't believe in the organization. They could give two hoots of beans about people in the neighborhood. Their only concern is selling Kingdom Halls off and passing it off as love is why we're not meeting. I'll tell you what, it's despicable. Well, you're on JW World News. You're on with us right now. You want to say something? You're on with us. Go ahead.
Rick?
Yes, Anne-Marie.
Hi, thank you. I love the way you I never have a boring JW World News. Never. I love that you do this so well every Saturday. But, it's amazing that Watchtower not only needs good buyers, they need good deflectors. they sound like these attorneys that when you put them on the stand, they know how to deflect. They know how to kind of point you in a different direction. And this lady, right when you said it, I was thinking the same thing. This interviewer, she has to be at least favorable to Watchtower because he used Watchtower jargon, like, oh, you're so good and so holy, always trying to do what's best for others, looking out for your neighbors. Oh, please, you're hoping they die so you can have their house. But what really got me is this guy is so deflecting everything, never giving a straight answer. And when she asked about, opening up and going back to regular Kingdom Halls, door-to-door witnessing or whatever, he didn't say, well, we hope so, or if it's Jehovah's will. Remember when they used to always say Jehovah's will? It's all we. And the other thing is, if she was a regular reporter, this would also make me think she's favorable to Watchtower. If she was a normal reporter, would have called him on, not giving her a direct, clear answer. Thank you so much, Rick.
Wow, very good, Amory. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, we're not. What I want people to understand, listening in here live on our various networks, YouTube, Facebook, Six Screen Video Suite, radio network. Well, what I want people to know is, we're not nitpicking here. I'm not trying to find something that we can take and just spin it to death. I'm trying to find things that, Jehovah's Witnesses should be waking up and smelling the coffee over. And they're not. They're being led to slaughter. So, I always say here at the Six Screens, we have to shock them out. We got to let people hear this type stuff. We want to shock them out. And, I was shocked this week when I was looking on jw.org. And I don't know if you guys get in there or not. I know there's no reason to, but I do it because I'm trying to gather news and what have you. But there was an article on jw.org that I got quite fascinated with this week. And it was very disturbing. As a matter of fact, I had a hard time even finishing the article because it bothered me that much. And the title of the article on jw.org was this: what does the Bible say about caregiving for elderly parents? Now, I have a problem with this. I have a daughter in the organization still that had nothing to do with her mother that died, lived 2 miles away, wouldn't even come to the funeral. Yet they have an article here. What does the Bible say about caregiving for elderly parents? This is total propaganda. This is really rearranging things to the point that, the witnesses believe that they take care of their parents. Well, yeah, if their parents remain Jehovah's Witnesses. But then I use the Bible's answer. But before I do that, I just want to say this. You listening out there today, maybe you are a parent. And maybe you left, you're an ex-witness. You're an apostate, from what they would say. So you left the organization. And, I want you to think about that. Did your children talk to you since you left the Watchtower? Did they care about you? So they're promulgating themselves as great helpers of family that are getting old. That is a crock of baloney. So it says, what does the Bible say about caregiving for elderly parents? The Bible's answer. No, not the Watchtower's answer, because we know what their answer is. But see how they're clever with this. They then say the Bible's answer. Adult children have the important responsibility of making sure that their elderly parents are cared for. The Bible says that adult children should put their religion into practice by caring for their own family and repaying their parents. For this is pleasing to God. 1 Timothy 5:4. Stop there. So the Bible's saying that you take care of your elderly parents. You look over them. This is a biblical thing. Does the Watchtower really apply the scripture in Timothy to their way of dealing with apostate family members? You know, there's many children that are distancing themselves. They shun their mother and father because they're not Jehovah's Witnesses. How can the Watchtower even put an article up like this? This, I'll tell you what, I have like I feel like mad inside. You know, sometimes you hear something, you read something that's so irritating you that it begins to kind of bite at your nerves. This article is biting at my nerves. I have a beautiful wife here, my wife Susan. Well, she's a former Jehovah's Witness. She has 2 young daughters. Well, they're in the 30s. They have not spoken to her and all the medical issues and trouble and turbulence that poor Susan's gone through. They never even care. Now, I'm not picking on them. I know the Watchtower. I know they're nice girls. But it's the Watchtower that makes them do this. But they can have an article about caring for your elderly parents. Where are they going with this? Where are they going with this? So it says, what practical advice from the Bible can help caregivers? Well, honoring your mother and father. And you work with your mother and father. You only have one mother and father. But boy, oh boy, you want to talk about an article that ticked me off. It's that. Because that's the type of propaganda. That's the type of stuff they sell to people. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, Dan.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in with you, what you're saying there. I get mad too, because we know they're mad. They're just fake. They're like fake lines, because what we see is what they do. Throw away people, abandon people. My mother was abandoned. Nobody came and visited her. My dad died alone. I know so many witnesses that die alone. But I have to chime in with you, Rick, because you know, it's so fake. That guy was so fake on there earlier. You know, they're making a sprint for that media center. And you know what? Whether they use it or not, it's property. So they're going to make a sprint for it. So this guy's just talking smoke and mirrors and, you know, just telling people what they want to hear. We love everybody. Oh, but we heard there's a spike. Like you said, man, every spike means they're selling what? 1,000 Kingdom Halls? I mean, every spike they're going, oh my God, we did it again. It's another reason we can't be together. He was kind of joyful that it spiked. I mean, I don't know who he was listening to, Fauci or what, but he was like, just like you said, it spiked again. So we're laying down low, brothers. We care about our brothers. But they're selling off. What are they doing? They're selling off halls like hotcakes. They're making a sprint to this media center. It's what they're doing, and that's what you're seeing, Rick, and that's what I'm seeing, what they're doing, not what they're saying. What they're saying is all garbage. We can see right through it. It's just pure lies. It's the devil incarnate. I'm sorry, Rick. It's trying to appear as white light, and behind it is dead man's bones. You see it, and I see it, and everybody else sees it. Thank you, Rick.
Well, no, that's a good comment, Dan, and it's exactly right. It's exactly right. And I'm glad there's people like you and me and others on the trail, and I salute all activists. You know, I give Mike and Kimmy credit, and John Cedars, and all, it's Watchtower Escape, and Jimmy from Toppling the Watchtower, Wade Facebook group, all of these people. I give all the activists credit. Friends, we're all in this together. We're all trying to work as an allied force fighting against the Watchtower. So the more activists, the better. But we see this. We don't let this go by us. We pick up on it. And it's not like we're trying to make a name for ourselves, but trying to capitalize and make money. We want to help people. We want to expose this. Friends, it's a duty. It's a duty. If you have been ripped off in life, if you have really suffered from being touched by the tentacles of any company or any business or anything, you'd want to talk about it. And that's why we want to talk about it every Saturday night, to try to help people from getting involved with one of the world's most destructive and dangerous cults. Yeah, so I read a story. If anyone else wants to come on, you're on with us. Go ahead.
Sorry, Rick.
Yes.
I looked it up. I found a screenshot. This is Chewy. You're talking about the Kingdom Halls being sold. There was a screenshot that I took off of Kim and Mikey's one of their videos, and it was actually JEHOVAH'S.org. In 2017, I sold 608 Kingdom Halls, and in 2018, just 867 halls, and then it overlapped a little bit in 2019. The first part of 2019, it was like 45, so the 2019 was just getting started. So you're looking at about 1,500 halls plus, the rest of 200 or 2019, and then you got 2020. So anyway.
All right, so 15. So we get 1,000, 2,000, and we get to well. I guess we're up around 3,000, 3,500. So it's growing too, Chewy.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So that brings us up to speed. All right, you're on with us. All you have to do is speak up and say hello. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Farron.
Yes, sir. I can.
I kind of find it hard to believe right now. The Watchtower Society, after all these years and all these generations, they're bringing up the issue on how you should treat your older people when they get old and so forth. Other religions and other custom people of other countries and their customs have been practicing, that stuff for years, long before the Watchtower Society has been going on. So it's just nothing but putting on a big show and try to, raise issues and try to attract attention, which is not going to work down the road, because we've already seen that not only with the Watchtower Society, but other religions too, these end of the world predictions, or a lot of these predictions, none of them have ever come true. And there's hundreds upon thousands of them amongst all the religions of the world. So they're not, Watchtower Society's been making these predictions for years. None of them have come true, and none of them are going to come true either.
Well, Ken, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you're on the same train, because we're all understanding what's going on behind the curtains. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, we got more people coming in. You're in the green zone. You want to speak up? You're on with us. Go ahead, say hello to us. Don't be shy. I see you're in there. 1, 2, 3. We'll move to the next story. Okay, so let's go on. We've got landlords. Wow, I'll tell you what, I came across this story this week and really shocked me. And I really got thinking a lot about it. There was a Jehovah's Witness woman that was actually attacked by a pit bull. Out in Washington State. This happened a few years ago when they were still going door to door. And the pit bull attacked this witness, and she filed a lawsuit against the landlord of the house that the pit bull came out of. And, she had an appeal. She lost the first case in district court. She went to the appeal board, and she lost again. So this just came across the news this week, but it got me thinking. Look, I'm going to tell you that it was a 78-year-old woman. I'm not in any way. I feel bad for the woman. I'm not trying to make light of a story that is not good. Nobody wants to hear about a person being attacked by a pit bull. Let's face it. But Arlington, Washington, the Jehovah's Witness was standing in a driveway across from the Arlington Cemetery talking about Bible scripture when a tenant's pit bull broke free through a loose section of the fence. Oh, a pit bull. The dog, his name was Enzo, charged Maria Sanguelli, I guess it is, yeah, Sanguelli Blanco, 78 years old, then mauled her, friends, I hate to say this, chewed off her ear, and bit 3 other people who tried to stop him on May 5th, 2018. That is a terrible story to report, but I'm bringing it up tonight. And hopefully, if there are some Jehovah's Witnesses listening in here, and if ever they do go back to their ministry, public work, going door to door, they're going to treat dogs seriously. So Blanco, the woman that was bit, she filed a personal injury lawsuit, and she claimed that the landlords knew or had reason to know that the put the pit bull was a dangerous condition of that land that the house was on. And the fence was dangerously inadequate to contain a pit bull. She lost the case. I thought she would have won the case. But what really was the problem? Well, the problem was that the court found that when the people who were renting the house, like a condo development or something, had a number of apartments there, when the people who rented it, they called the landlord and they told the landlord they were going to get a puppy. And it was a little pit bull. And they said they were going to build an arena, like a fence around the area. So as a pit bull got older, he wouldn't be able to do much damage. So they're the ones who put the fence up. It wasn't the landlord. So she lost in court, even through her appeal to the landlord, because it was really the responsibility of the tenants, not the landlord. Now, that's interesting. But see, what you do in any lawsuit, I'm sure if you got a lawyer, they're going to go for the deepest pockets. So they're going to go for the landlord, who would have more money than the tenants in this particular case. So that's what happened, but she lost. But what am I bringing the story up for to begin with? I'm bringing it up because Jehovah's Witnesses, and I know because I've personally experienced dogs in field ministry, and I'm sure every Jehovah's Witness listening, or former Jehovah's Witness listening in here tonight, knows about dogs in the field ministry. Look at male men carry a dog spray, because dogs can be a real menace. Dogs can be a real hassle. They can create all kinds of issues. They come out, they want to bite you, right? Well, anyways, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I remember this, I'm going to tell you my story. Maybe you have some stories as well, so think about it. But when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't like dogs. We had a German Shepherd in my family when I was just a young boy. And the German Shepherd, he had seizures and he turned on us. The hair stood up on the back of him and he started to attack me and my sisters. Fortunately, they ran in the other room, but I fought him off with a broom. When my father came home, I told him about this German Shepherd. My father immediately took him and had him euthanized. But anyways, what I'm trying to say here is many witnesses, they don't take dogs seriously. And I can remember being in a car group. We pulled up, it was in the rural part of where I live here. We pulled up to a house, and it was out in the country. And sure enough, there were two German Shepherds. I can still see the image in my mind. And they had their hair up on attack mode. And I said, we're not going to do this house. I was the car captain for the day. I said, we're not going to do this house today. We're not. Those dogs look too dangerous. We're just going to let it go. So a sister who was in the group, she was a little older than me. She says, well, Brother Farron, she says, if you don't mind, we have to witness to all the houses. This message has to get out. She says, I don't mind at all. Dogs don't bother me. I says, well, sister, I says, those dogs bother me. Those are German Shepherds. They are known to be vicious. And I don't think it's safe for you. Oh, Brother Farron, let me get out of the car. I'm not advising you to get out. I advise you not to. Well, she wanted to. She insisted. I want to get out. I won't have a problem. Well, okay, fine. So, I was ready to pull her back in the car if those dogs got angry with her. But, she patted them and it was okay. Nothing happened, but she could have been mauled just like this sister out there in Washington State was mauled. But sometimes the witnesses don't take it seriously. They think, well, Jehovah's going to protect me and the angels are with me and I'm going to be able to deliver the message of the Bible to these people. Well, not so fast, but many witnesses feel that way. Did you ever encounter?
Rick.
Yes.
Rick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, Matt.
Matt, how are you?
I'm good.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good.
I just want to make a couple of comments on, I think it's really interesting that the segue into dogs and witnesses' view of dogs is actually ties into what that representative of Watchtower said about whether they're going to go back into the public ministry, where he said, I'm paraphrasing, well, we'd like to, but we don't see it in our future. And it's interesting because, Rick, when people wake up, they realise that as a corporation, what they do is, if you go back into our, let's say, grandparents, if they've got generations of witnesses, is, they had, advertise the king and the kingdom, which meant sound cars. So they would get these cars with the recording of Judge Rutherford, and they go to the top of the mountain, for instance, and they blast out these sermons from the top of the mountain, and they go to someone's door and they have a gramophone recording, or they would march up and down the main streets with sandwich boards on. And this was a direction from Jehovah. And if you didn't do it, that if Armageddon came, you were a dead man or woman, because this is what God wanted. We have to save people. And then as the years went by, they changed, and no more were you allowed to blast out their message from the top of the hill, because the police would probably arrest you. But at the time, the police would go, what would they do, Rick? They'd go to the courts, and they would fight in the courts for their right to blast out their message. Then when they were done with that, then if you then went and decide, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, a boom box, and I'm going to blast out the latest JW broadcast, but they wouldn't support you in that. And here we have today with the dogs is, I remember exactly what you said. I remember being frightened of dogs and being bitten by dogs, and you'd see a dog and it was very aggressive, and the elders and other ones, the common thinking was that the angels were protecting you, and if the lions and so forth had been stopped from eating Daniel, then that's the protection that you would have. So people were going into homes where there were dangerous dogs, and the fact is this: when you think about it, Rick, why is it that the angels would be protecting you from getting eaten by dogs, but yet the angels won't protect you from getting COVID? Why was it during the war that when the witnesses were under ban, people were still going door to door, and the angels were meant to be directing the work, but yet now when we've got COVID, the angels can't protect you from getting COVID. So I think the issue, Rick, really is for people to wake up and to realise this is just a corporation. What works in one decade as an advertising push doesn't work the next. And what's really interesting with this new media centre is the fact of the matter is that it's really people like Google and Apple and Android and all the other software companies that are the tool for Watchtower. So the fact is, as we said before, if the electricity goes out, then the preaching work stops. That never happened before. So, as you said, you hit the nail on the head, Rick, is they have used the horror of this pandemic to their agenda, which is to sell off the kingdom halls, to roll themselves into the smallest legal ball possible because of all their pedophile and other liabilities that are coming their way. They haven't stopped. And now we've gone from the members of the governing body saying, well, you haven't been out witnessing in said days, you've got blood on your hands, to, well, we don't think we're ever going to go witnessing. What happened to the blood on your hands? So, Rick, it's a joke. And there's so many people that have lost their lives, being bashed up. I was shot at. I remember seeing my mother getting thrown off the doorstep, witnesses getting tarred and feathered, ridiculed, mocked. That's not right. I'm not saying it's right. They didn't deserve that. But what I'm saying is the governing body put the witnesses in harm's way, and if the end is just around the corner, wouldn't you want everybody out now? If 50 years ago they were out putting themselves in harm's way, if they're only days and weeks away from the end of the world, wouldn't everybody be out to warn people? So look, Rick, keep up the great work, and it's absolutely a disgrace, this organisation. It's the most crooked and twisted religious, well, basically political and religious enterprise in the world. Thanks, Rick.
Well, thank you, Matt. So you'll be coming on at, well, just about that, say, let's see, let me take a look at the clock here. You'll be coming on in about a half hour, and keep my brothers and sisters keepers all the way from Australia. We got Matt Christopher coming on, so looking forward to it, Matt. All righty, well, thank you.
And also, Rick,
yeah,
anybody that comes onto the show is inoculated from COVID. And you also get free beer.
All right, so I mean, to come on the program, do you have to be vaccinated or what? Well, they're giving away a lot. So
you get a free rabies shot.
All right.
Rabies shot.
Well, we'll have to see what goes on with that, but I know there's all kinds of gimmicks and gadgets and everything else to get people moving. Thank you, Matt. All right.
Okay,
so anyways, well, I'm glad to hear from Matt Christopher. Now, friends, I have to tell you, I'm sure you have seen it in the news this week. I hope you have. In fact, it's really been building up to a crescendo here. Aliens. My goodness. UFOs, unidentified flying objects, every day in the news, NBC, Fox, all the different networks. They're talking about these alien, well, at least unidentified flying objects. Let's go with that. And they're showing pictures from the Pentagon. The United States military is taking pictures, and they're saying, what is this? This is something that's a phenomena. Is it aliens? Is it technology that other countries have that America doesn't, and they're kind of sporting it? And even some people are saying that it could be demons. I mean, 3 different explanations. But the thing is, I mean, Jehovah's Witnesses are going to be hearing about this too. So I wanted to bring it up tonight because, I mean, it is the big elephant in the room. If you've been watching the news in the last couple of weeks, that's all I've been seeing is pictures of flying saucers and all of this. I don't know where you stand on it. I don't want to go completely over the top on you tonight, but I had to bring it up. I had to bring it up because it's a big thing going on right now. So anyways, the United States military, they have said that they're going to make a rendering on this. They're going to try to identify, or at least tell people by the middle of June, maybe somewhere around the 20th of June, on what they have found. So we're looking forward to what that would be. But, you know, what's the Jehovah's Witness organization going to say about this, if any? Did you ever, when you were a witness, did you ever wonder about aliens, people on other planets? Well, I remember when I was studying with my aunt, just a young boy, I was probably only about 16 at the time, and I remember asking my aunt, Aunt Jenny, that was her name, Aunt Jenny. Now, could you tell me, Aunt Jenny, is there other people on other planets? Does God have other interests beside us? Well, we don't think about that as Jehovah's Witnesses. We're only concerned about this. We don't think about other things like that. That would be the answer that would be given to you as a witness. And, well, the thing is that you would be told that aliens are not there. Don't worry about it because God is only involved with planet Earth. But, you know, that's not a good answer, is it? So, you know, I'm thinking, what will the Jehovah's Witnesses do? Now, there's all kinds of thoughts that run through my mind on what they could say. I mean, I would say if I was still a Jehovah's Witness, and even as a Christian man today, now you might not agree with me, but I'm thinking, you know, first of all, there's no definitive pictures. It's kind of like Ghost, right? Whenever you see a picture of a ghost, it's not really definitive. It's kind of hazy. It's not clear. The demons, I'm going to bring it up. Don't get mad at me. But this very well could be demonic activity. It's one of the thoughts that is being promulgated throughout the internet. I'm going to go with that. It could very well be demonic activity. The witnesses would really take this to the bank and cash it. See, this is Satan the devil. In the last days, you're going to try all these different tricks. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But I'm thinking Jehovah's Witnesses might allude to the fact that this is demonic activity. We'll see.
Rick,
Yes. I'm here.
it looks like it could be demonic activity. If you look at the constellation Orion, right, you got to wonder who's powerful enough to move stars around. So when you look at Stephen Hawking and Einstein and people who don't believe in God, Christopher Hitchens, these people never looked up in the sky, all right? You see that there's somebody up there doing something. The constellation Orion itself, having the nebula beneath it, and it shows you that there's a power of God in the sky, you know? When people discount the Mazzaroth and the fact that we have a creator, look at these demonic worshiping organizations, you know? If you don't believe in God, I'll show you Satan all day. Look at what these people are doing. They're pretty much witchcraft organizations, and they're trying to transform into an angel of light. Does that make any sense? They're trying to use maybe seances to gain knowledge from an unauthorized source. If the ancients knew the size of the moon and the size of the sun, and they knew that Saturn had a hexagon on top of it, how would they find that out without, telescopes? They had to seek some kind of paranormal knowledge to get that information. And it seems that they're making religion out of this and rejecting God. So when you see Solomon, who was given the most wisdom, who engaged in this, and they built fairy tales off Hiram Abiff, how he was buried in temple rubble. You can't bury a body in the temple. You can't put a carcass in the temple. God won't allow that. Their own fairy tales tell themselves. But we have the scriptures. We know that David prepared the items needed to build it and had it ready for Solomon. We know the true story. And they sell myths. And we just pray to the Lord for the Holy Spirit to give us guidance in these wars against Satan directly on the earth. And you're a general, and Dan is a general, and I'm just a foot soldier, and I love you, and you guys work. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank you, brother. No, that's good. Well, listen, I'm in the same camp you're with. It's I'm going to go with demons here. I could be wrong. We could be. We don't know. I'm going to see what the government seems to
It makes
say.
you doubt God. It seems to be something they want. They want you to doubt that God has power. That God, how can you believe in a Satan and there's no God? It makes no sense.
Well, I got even thinking today. I'm just thinking out loud more than anything. But if there was aliens and they projected this and somehow manufactured this whole thing, and so this alien craft lands, and the aliens come out and say that we have searched the universe, but we don't see any God out there. See, that would get a lot of people really to disconnect from believing in God, even though it could be a fabricated arrangement. We don't know.
Their agenda, right? To get you, it seems to be their agenda is to get you to lose your faith in God. They have an exact agenda to get you to lose your faith in God and present other things to, I guess, obscure his knowledge, his way, right?
Well, you're making sense to me. I mean, you really are. It seems like you're a learned man. It seems like you've done some study on this, and it's really going to.
I have a family that's witnesses, and I can't get through to them, and it's just stubborn self-righteousness. You don't have anybody in there that's seminary trained in any kind of religious, theological training. They have nothing. It's just people that have decided to band together under, I guess, some kind of Masonic construct, maybe. I mean, I think the Nation of Islam is the same way. I mean, you ever see Farrakhan read from the Quran? Farrakhan's always read from the Bible. It just seems to be a crypto shell game with religion with these people.
Well, no doubt there's something going on right now to diffuse people's attention.
Cooking.
So something, no, I like that. I like what you're saying. And this idea, because I've been discussing it with my wife, every day I'm watching the news, whether it's on Fox or NBC, ABC, whatever, they always bring up this idea of these UFOs. And it diverts attention. Where right now, a lot of attention is on a lot of things. This country is in total unrest. This country is in a period in their history that has not been like this ever. This is something new that Americans are experiencing. And any way that they can get to divert people's attention is a good thing, brother. For them, not for us, but for them.
That seems to be the case.
Yeah.
And if not for these coins, Bitcoin and Dogecoin, whatever, where would gold and silver prices be? These are like inflation bombs.
Yeah.
You know, just like the tulips that were sold, I guess 100 or so years ago.
Yeah. Well,
so it looks like maybe that's.
Well, I know that you're not asleep. You're not asleep at the helm. You're a reasonable thinker.
I'm just grateful for the work you guys are doing, because it's very important that people get woken up and return to the word of Christ, the King James word of Christ. And even King James, I'm looking at the word Jehovah. I mean, it's Yahweh, isn't it? All of the, most of the prophets have a Yah in their name somewhere, even Christ himself. And you have this Jehovah. And I'm going over it now. I think maybe King James. I'm looking at it. If you look at the Google Gmail logo, it's an apron. It's a Masonic apron. If you look at the Chrome, the Google Chrome logo, that's a Moloch owl. Look at the Mazda logo. That's another Moloch owl. So you have overt Satan worship in your country. And you got a giant obelisk behind your White House. So let's just call the horror movie what it is. Like, it's the Batman with the laughing gas. Joker has laughing gas. And Joker is the Satanist. And you got a substantial portion of your population under the gas.
Well, I like the way you talk.
Fear on the Batman, and Dan is Batman, and I'm Robin.
Yeah.
And we're trying to fight to save Gotham.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it's very fascinating what you say, and I don't discount any of it. Well, thank you, brother. You make sense.
Hey, have a great
night. And you just keep waving that flag, keep standing tall.
Bless you, sir.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. All right. Well, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting, friends, I'll tell you. But, it's the flying saucers are being reported. You can do what you want with it. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Anyone have any thoughts on that? Go ahead. You're on with us.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Farron.
Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I talked to a witness who was in the 50s, and no, not the 50s, but the 70s and 80s there. And he said the attitude of the Watchtower back then was, well, nothing ever materialized out of these flying saucer visions, so flying saucer stories, so they really don't have an opinion on it. But that was back then. I don't know about now. But number two, on the other side of the coin, a lot of people believe that there is life on the other outside of this planet Earth, and that this is not the only place that's inhabited by life. And so I guess that I have never seen one myself. The only experience I had is I saw some strange lights one time in the woods when I was coming home late from work. It was dark and so forth, but I did not see anything else. The area where I was in was not a flying saucer hotspot, but we have a bunch of flying saucer hotspots right now and so forth. So I guess let's just keep an eye on it. Let's not draw conclusions and just study the matter and see what we can find out.
Well, we're certainly living in challenging times, Ken, that's for sure. Thank you. All right, we've got more coming in, so you're on with us right now. Go ahead, you're on 6 screens.
Rick, could I comment on this beyond the third dimension stuff?
Of course.
I think around 1966, the Reader's Digest came out with a really huge article all about the UFO phenomenon and lots of stories, witnesses who step forward. And there are people who have not had these experiences who, for some reason, feel the need to scoff and laugh and make fun of and say, what were you smoking, or call somebody crazy. And to me, that's like trying to comfort themselves. It's like their way of whistling in the dark. They would rather, ridicule than to consider the possibility, because then they feel loss of control. And, a lot of humans, we like to feel that we're in control. But if you look around at the world that we live in, we have manufactured our own reality to the best of our capability. What if one day we woke up and there were no clothes, no houses, no stores, nothing? And we had to function in that. It would freak us the heck out. But a lot of people don't seem to get, that let's just say we believe in a creator. Personally, I think that it's possible there are many creators, because it's just like an artist or a carpenter. Maybe I believe in a supreme being. I believe in it's God, but I believe in the possibility, because I've seen and I've experienced many things. But Watchtower commented, because people were talking when that article in Reader's Digest came out, and I do believe it was in an Awake magazine, and basically said that doesn't concern us. Satan will use anything to take us away from our focus of serving Jehovah. That is what we are witnesses of, Jehovah. So anything that can divert our attention, we need to not pay attention to it, because it has nothing to do with us. So they didn't deny it. They just didn't want anything to do with it. I personally have had several experiences, and it took me a lot of years to come deal with it. I would rather be one of those that just makes fun of people who have experiences, because it's not an easy thing to have to live this way. But one thing that I can tell you is I got to be really close with an investigator in the MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network. And she was raised in a high military family. Her father was a colonel. And she said she remembers growing up, and there were personal private meetings at her home with her father in his study. And she said she remembers when she got about 11 or 12, she started listening to what they were talking about. And the stories she heard just raised her hackles, because it was stuff that nobody would ever talk about. She didn't even know this stuff was going on. So she said when she got older, she got interested and joined the investigation of this type of phenomenon, and came to meet a lot of people. So I asked her, had she ever met any Jehovah's Witnesses? And she said, oh, yes, we've had quite a few Jehovah's Witnesses come to us for help. But she said, it's the strangest thing. And I'm thinking, what? I mean, what's stranger than having to deal with third dimension and deal with this, outer dimension stuff too? Because it can be pretty hairy. And she said that these witnesses who came to them for help were more scared of getting discovered by the elders than of the UFO phenomenon, visitations, going aboard ships, having experiments on them. They were more afraid of being found out by the elders. That is a sad, sad thing. Thank you, Rick.
Well, my goodness, that is sad. Jeez, that's almost totally disappointing. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Well, you're on with us. We've got more people coming to the green zone, so if you'd like to speak up, now is your chance.
Hi, Mr. Farron.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to thank this person for coming on and making this comment, the last one here. And I guess my suggestion is that if if you meet somebody that's had an experience or something like that, do not pass any judgment. Do not poke fun at those people or anything else. Matter of fact, you have to remember one thing. They were there and you were not. So if you're not there to witness something personally, then you shouldn't have anything to say. I've heard that all the time too, that there's doubters here, disbelievers, and they're right there to tell you that you didn't see nothing, you're making it all up. Well, nope. There's millions of people nowadays that have had some kind of sighting, and something is going on, and we need to find out what it is.
Well, no, that's a very logical. I like the way you worded that. In other words, the person was there, you weren't. I mean, I don't see what people, this is what I don't get either. Why would a person want to come on knowing that it's very controversial, it could create doubt, and even spill the beans and tell their story? They're telling it because they really believe it. It happened. So, great comments. Thank you very much, Ken. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Okay, you're on with us. I see people in the green zone still. So if you want to speak up, all you got to do is say, hello, Rick, I'm here. Well, it certainly is amazing. It certainly is amazing. And I gotta find out what's going on here. Susan, did you want to speak up? I see you keep coming in on the screen here. Susan, did you want to speak up and say something? You are unmuted, but I guess not. I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyways, we're doing a live program here tonight. And I want to apologize, but here's what I want to say to everybody. We're live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are live on the Six Screens video suite. We are live on our radio telephone network. This is unadulterated, unedited. I'm not going to go in. This is going to be put up. I'm doing live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. It'll be put up there. I don't edit it. Friends, what is said here tonight stays here. And it stays on this program. I don't take anything out. So when you listen to it, when it does pop up and it is promoted on Facebook and YouTube, it's the real deal. And, sometimes it comes across as, geez, Rick, why can't you get a little better than that? Hey, listen, try doing a live program. There's a lot of things you got to worry about. Microphones, cameras, people seeing what they want to see. It might come across as a little unprofessional, but I'm not saying we're totally professional. I'm not saying we have to be that way. I'm just trying to help you here. We don't, we don't profess to be the smartest technological outfit in the world here. We're just trying to bring you the news, and we try to do it in real time. And the reason why I think real time is very important. When you get on Facebook and YouTube and you listen to recorded stuff, that's yesterday's newspaper. Tonight you are on live. If you got any thoughts, any questions, bring it up. You're on live. What's better than that? What beats live, right? But anyways, we're glad you're with us here tonight. And we got a few minutes here to talk about a few things. I'm going to be cutting to my brothers and sisters keepers in Australia. Our good friend Matt Christopher is going to come on. But just a few comments I want to make. Now, look, I was at the Zoom town meeting in Ramapo, New York, last week for the Watchtower gigantic, mammoth, massive media center. And I wanted to comment on it and let people know that there's a cult in their backyard. They wouldn't let me do it. So I do have an email. Now, I'm going to ask my audience if you could take 5 minutes and write to this person in the Ramapo town office and tell them that you don't believe the Watchtower should go forward with their media center. Now, you can tell them whatever you want. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But I'm going to write them and tell them these guys are coddling and hiding pedophilia. They destroy families. You can tell them whatever you want to. But you want to write to them and let them know. Now, you have, I believe it is to June 12th, I believe. But try to do that. If we could just get, there's thousands of people listening in here tonight. If we could just get, say 12 people out of, say, 3,000 or 4,000 people, I'd be happy. So here's the email. Get a piece of paper, get a pencil, the email to write to. I got the woman's name. Her name is Hannah Ross. Hanna, Hannah Ross. And you want to write to ROSSH@ramapo.org. ROSSH, double S, ROSSH@ramapo.org. That's her email. And tell Hannah that you have some bones to pick with this media center of the Watchtower going forward. Just want to say that. So anyways, take advantage of that and write her and tell her that. It could make a difference, friends. It really could. Also, there'll be a 6-screen Sunday tomorrow. Now, on Sundays, we take on a different feel. We become a little more spiritual. And we bring the Bible, we read scriptures, and this is where people come in and discuss spirituality. And what do people do for spirituality when they leave the Watchtower? Well, you want to come in tomorrow for a 6-screen Sunday program. I think you'll find it very, very fascinating. And we have some really good programs on there. We do JW World News beginning at 2 o'clock. But I want you to come in tomorrow. It starts at 1. Our Christian program starts at 1. So by all means, why don't you join us then? I know you'll love it. And if you're any way connected with theological thoughts and ways of doing business when you leave the Watchtower, by all means, come in and join us then. And also, I want to keep saying, don't send us any money. People still want to send money here to the 6 screens. And I know you want to help, and people like what we're doing, and I like what I'm doing. But I'm not doing it for profit. I'm not looking to make money off of this. I'm only looking to help you. So don't send your money. What you can do is this. What you guys can do is this. If you're on Facebook, share the Facebook. If you're listening to this live or you see it come up on Facebook, share it with your friends. Say, hey, listen, get into JW World News. Listen to what's going on. Or if you're on YouTube, just subscribe. You become a subscriber to our channel and spread the word. Share it in there too. Let people know. That means more to me than you sending $1,000 here. I mean it. So do that for me. Would you please? I really would like that. Share it. Let people know what's going on. And also, if you want to listen to some of these programs, we have an archive. You can get in there and listen to it. It's very easy to do it. We usually get the programs up within a week. Sometimes we drag our feet a little bit here, but we get a lot of programs running right now. It takes a little time to put up. But for the most part, they get put up on Rick Ferrin SoundCloud. Rick Ferrin SoundCloud. Just check it out, and you can see and listen to all their favorite programs from the 6 screens. Well, we're going to be cutting loose from Facebook and YouTube. We're going to be cutting those off here very shortly. And if you guys want to continue to listen in to the rest of the programs we have going on this Saturday night, go to 6screensofthewatchtower.com. And you can check it out. Just scroll down and show you how to listen to the program on our telephone line, show you how to listen in on our 6 screens video suite. But we will be leaving Facebook. Friends, I want to thank you very much for wanting to come in and be with us tonight. It's my pleasure to be able to give you the news every week and keep you right up to date on what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. So I always want to end it with this. You guys keep standing tall. Don't you ever give in, up, or out. And the last one leaving the Watchtower, by all means, turn off the new light. I'm going to be shutting down Facebook right now, as well as YouTube. So we thank you very much for joining us. End the stream here and end. Okay, we're going to do that. Give me time. I just got to